The Phantom Cabin of Moonlit Lake. Moonlit Lake was a tranquil getaway known for its serene beauty, crystal clear waters, and lush surroundings. It was a popular destination for camping and fishing, but it held a secret that only revealed itself under the cover of darkness. A group of friends decided to spend an overnight trip at Moonlit Lake, eager to enjoy the tranquility of the area and escape the hustle and bustle of daily life. They arrived in the afternoon, set up their campsite, and spent the day swimming and basking in the sun. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they gathered around their campfire, swapping stories and gazing at the stars overhead. The lake shimmered in the moonlight, casting an otherworldly glow on the water's surface. A sense of peace settled over the group, and they marveled at the natural beauty around them. As the night wore on, a light mist began to rise from the lake, adding an ethereal quality to the scene. One of the friends noticed something in the distance, the faint outline of a cabin on the opposite shore. None of them remembered seeing it earlier, but its presence added an element of intrigue to their adventure. Curiosity getting the better of them, they decided to row across the lake in a small boat to investigate the cabin. The moon's reflection danced on the water as they paddled, the mist enveloping them in an eerie embrace. The cabin seemed to beckon from the shore, its windows glowing with a soft light. As they approached, the group felt a chill in the air that seemed to intensify with each stroke of the oars. The cabin's windows were illuminated by a warm, inviting glow, and the door was slightly ajar. They tied the boat to the dock and cautiously entered, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Inside, they found themselves in a cozy, well-furnished cabin that seemed untouched by time. The furniture was elegant and reminiscent of a bygone era, and a fire crackled in the hearth, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Despite their initial trepidation, the group couldn't help but be drawn to the cabin's allure. They explored further, discovering old photographs and personal belongings that hinted at a life lived long ago. The cabin felt oddly familiar, as if it held memories that weren't their own. They lingered, captivated by the aura of nostalgia that surrounded them, until a subtle shift in the air brought them back to reality. The fire's crackling had turned into a low, haunting whisper that seemed to echo through the cabin. The photographs on the wall began to change, their subjects shifting and moving as if caught in a time loop. The group exchanged uneasy glances, realizing that they were no longer alone. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, forming words that seemed to be directed at them. The figures in the photographs turned their ghostly gazes toward the group, their expressions filled with sorrow and longing. Panic set in as the walls themselves seemed to close in, the room growing smaller and more suffocating. With a surge of adrenaline, the group fled the cabin, stumbling back to the boat and rowing across the lake as fast as their shaking hands could manage. As they looked back, they saw the cabin's glow fading, its windows growing dimmer until it was swallowed by the mist. They returned to their campsite, shaken and breathless, their minds reeling from the surreal experience. They watched the rest of the night pass in a haze of anxiety and fear, the memory of the phantom cabin etched into their minds. In the morning light, Moonlit Lake appeared as serene as ever, but the memory of the cabin lingered, a reminder that there are places where the boundary between the living and the unknown can blur with chilling consequences. The friends never returned to the lake, haunted by the phantom cabin that had turned their idyllic overnight trip into a nightmarish encounter with the supernatural. The Phantom Hitchhiker's Road. In a remote countryside, known for its winding roads and dense forests, a particular stretch of highway earned a sinister reputation. Locals spoke of encounters with a phantom hitchhiker who appeared on moonlit nights, only to vanish without a trace. One group of friends decided to put the legend to the test and embarked on an overnight road trip along the haunted highway. As they drove along the winding road, the moon's soft glow illuminated the dense woods that bordered the highway. Laughter and excitement filled the air, and they shared stories to keep any apprehension at bay. But as they neared the stretch of road associated with the phantom hitchhiker, an eerie hush settled over the car. It was then that they spotted a figure standing by the roadside, a young woman with long, dark hair and a pale dress. The car's headlights illuminated her, revealing a mournful expression. The friends slowed down, their curiosity piqued by the unexpected encounter. The young woman's eyes seemed to pierce through the darkness, as if begging for help. Overcoming their initial hesitations, they decided to offer her a ride. As they opened the car door, a chill swept through the vehicle, causing goosebumps to rise on their skin. The woman entered the car without a word, her presence sending a shiver down their spines. The young woman's demeanor was solemn, as she directed them to a destination deeper into the woods. The road seemed to stretch endlessly, the forest closing in around them. The air grew colder, and the atmosphere turned heavy with an unexplainable tension. As they drove on, the woman's form seemed to waver, her features becoming more indistinct. Their unease deepened as they realized that the road itself was changing, the landscape becoming unfamiliar and eerie. Panic surged within them, and they demanded to know where they were headed. The woman's voice was a haunting whisper, her words sending a shiver down their spines. She spoke of a tragic accident that had occurred on that very road, claiming her life decades ago. She claimed to be trapped in a liminal space, forever seeking a way to move on. Their fear escalated as they realized the woman was not of the living world, but a spirit bound to the haunted highway. Desperation overcame them, and they turned the car around, speeding back the way they had come. The woman's voice grew more urgent, her form flickering in and out of existence. With the moon as their guide, they raced back to the main road, their hearts pounding and their breaths ragged. As they left the stretch of highway behind, the woman's presence vanished and the air grew warmer. They glanced at each other in disbelief, shaken to the core by the surreal encounter. They continued their journey through the night, eventually arriving back at their starting point as dawn broke. The events of the night left an indelible mark on their memories, forever haunting their thoughts and conversations. The legend of the phantom hitchhiker had become a chilling reality for them, a reminder that some mysteries are better left untouched, and that the roads we travel can be more than just physical pathways. The phantom signals of Haunted Ridge. High atop Haunted Ridge, a remote mountain known for its breathtaking views, a group of friends set out on an overnight hike to witness the sunrise from its peak. The ridge had earned its name from the eerie tales of ghostly figures and strange phenomena that had circulated for generations. Despite the stories, the friends were determined to experience the beauty of the ridge firsthand. As they ascended the rugged trail, the air grew cooler and the trees thinned out, revealing expansive vistas below. The moon cast a silvery glow over the landscape, and the stars shimmered like diamonds in the night sky. Excitement filled the air as they hiked further, their headlamps piercing the darkness. As they reached the summit, the panoramic view took their breath away. The world below was bathed in the ethereal light of the moon, and the night's silence seemed to amplify the sounds of their footsteps on the rocky terrain. They set up camp near the edge of the ridge, their tents forming small islands in the sea of darkness. As the night wore on, a sense of unease began to settle over the group. A faint, static-like noise seemed to permeate the air, coming and going in irregular intervals. They exchanged puzzled glances, trying to pinpoint the source of the strange sound. The radios crackled with interference, their signals disrupted by an unseen force. Curiosity getting the better of them, they decided to follow the sound, their headlamps cutting through the darkness as they navigated the rocky terrain. The static grew louder, its eerie hum vibrating through the air. It seemed to come from all directions, as if the very mountain itself was emitting the ghostly signals. As they ventured deeper into the darkness, the static transformed into faint whispers, fragments of conversations that were just beyond the threshold of understanding. The voices seemed to overlap and meld together, forming a dissonant chorus that sent shivers down their spines. The air grew colder, and the hairs on the back of their necks stood on end. They stumbled upon an old, rusted radio transmitter nestled among the rocks. Its dials and switches were covered in a thick layer of dust, and its antennas extended toward the sky. The radio seemed to emit the mysterious signals, its eerie broadcast filling the night air with an otherworldly cadence. Suddenly, the signals coalesced into words, and a voice emerged from the static, a voice that spoke of lost souls and unfinished business, of voices that had been silenced but not forgotten. The friends exchanged wide-eyed glances, realizing that they were witnessing something beyond their understanding. With a surge of fear, they turned and fled back to their campsite, the radio's haunted broadcast fading behind them. They huddled together in their tents, the echoes of the phantom signals still ringing in their ears. Sleep eluded them as they contemplated the unexplainable experience they had just lived through. As dawn broke, they packed up their campsite and descended the ridge, the memory of the haunted signals forever etched into their memories. The friends left Haunted Ridge with a haunting awareness that the boundaries between the living and the unknown can blur in the most unsettling of ways, and that even the most majestic of landscapes can hide secrets that defy explanation.